Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about Middle School, The Worst Years of My Life, which is a film that came out in 2016, and I just want to point out major spoilers in this content. Okay? All right, so I am actually very surprised to be talking about Middle School, The Worst Years of My Life. And the reason why is yesterday was Easter 2017. It was a beautiful day. Whole family really had a really nice time. We had my parents over for lunch, and had a really nice afternoon, throwing water balloons at each other, in the nice spring weather, and it was really nice. We had a great day. Okay, so to the end of a long Easter day, everybody just kind of wants to chill, and so I went to my wife and said, "Hey, what would you like to do? You want to watch a movie together?" So we started looking for a movie to watch together, or to watch as a family, right? And so the first one we came across was, I said, "Oh, look, Middle School, The Worst Year of My Life." So my daughter Tala, she is a tween. She had voiced interest in this film last year when the trailers were in the movies, right? So Leanne said, yeah, I'd love to see that. Let's watch that, okay? So we pull it up on the big screen, and everybody gathers around, and we make popcorn. It was very nice, right? And I should also say, we rented it, all right? So we're very blessed. We have 5 major streaming services. So we have Amazon Prime, we have Hulu, we have Netflix, we have Crunchyroll, and we have YouTube Red, right? So between those 5 streaming services, one, we don't need a single other streaming service. We may end up getting one at some point, just because somebody in the family has some kind of narrow slice interest. But between those 5, there's more than enough for free. Not for free, but for what we're already paying for. It's very unusual for us to pay to see a movie. So we paid $5.99. We rented this on HD, right? And it was interesting because we had to decide, are we going to buy it, because it was only $9.99. But we decided to rent it. It was a 48-hour rental. We rented it on HD, right? So this thing starts, and honestly, I didn't expect much from it. I thought this is going to be, just a bog standard tween movie, right? Which I shouldn't complain, because I don't watch a lot of those, and frankly, not a lot of those are really made, for at the movie level quality. Okay, now this movie cost $8.5 million to make, and it made 20, so it actually made its money back. It was commercially viable. It was a commercially viable film, which kind of surprised me. Right, so one of the things that was really interesting, and I think one of the lessons the entire industry is learning is make cheap movies, because your risk is low, and you can come out the other side of it. I think last year, Bad Moms was one of the ones where it was just a really cheap movie and made solid money. Everybody was happy. So anyway, Middle School, Worst Years of My Life. I'm going to refer to it as Middle School going forward. So Middle School starts, it looks like a bog standard teen film, right? And so it's moving forward, and it's about a young man who is getting kicked out of these different schools, okay? And he's on his 3rd or 4th school in the same year. And his mom is played by Lauren Graham. Seeing Lauren Graham, by the way, the young man's name is Rafe, okay? And so Rafe's mom is played by Lauren Graham. I'm a huge fan of Lauren Graham. She's Lorelai Gilmore from the Gilmore Girls, and also I watched every single season of Parenthood, and she was on Parenthood as well, which is a great show. If you ever get a chance to watch that, it's totally worth watching. Has incredible talent in it. It's got Dax Shepard, it's got Lauren Graham, it's got a lot of talent is in that show. And also, if you're not aware, Parenthood has a lot of talent that came from Friday Night Lights, the show, which is another show I highly recommend watching all the seasons of. Both of them are great. Watch Friday Night Lights and then watch Parenthood. It'll be more enjoyable. So Lauren Graham is in this. She's worth the price of admission alone. She's fantastic in her role. She's playing this mother who's just trying to keep it together. She's got a son and a daughter, single mom, and she's just trying to keep it together. And she has this boyfriend who is the villain of the movie. Actually, I don't want to complain about this movie. There's some problems in this movie, and there's some tropes in this movie, but I'm telling you, this is a good movie. I really like this movie a lot, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute. So the movie's going forward, and Rafe is going to his new school, and his sister's like, "Hey, you really need to straighten up in this school, because if you don't make it in the school, about the only thing that's left is juvie." Right, so you get the idea that this kid's got a little bit on the line, because he's been so bad in all these different schools that they're running out of places to put him, and the place where he will end up is bad, and that's real. I think that's real. Like, I think a lot of parents and society overall, and a lot of schools will try very hard to work with a kid until a point, But like 3-4 schools in, if you can't find a place, then what's going to end up happening is you're going to end up getting dumped somewhere, right? And there are dumping zones. I've seen them, right? I've never been into myself, but people I know are, they're kind of like these dumping zones. It's bad. It's a bad situation, right? So he's got a lot on the line, which is really kind of interesting. The stakes of the film are higher than you would expect. The boy himself has a lot of imagination. He's always scrawling in these notebooks, right? And his sister's got a lot of class too. There's also there's a pug in the movie who's really cute. The movie's really fun. It's got a really good, fun, solid base. Without a doubt, it's got some Hollywood tropes in it. It's got some standard problems you would see in Hollywood films. But then here's what makes this movie awesome. Okay, it has got it just right hooks you out of nowhere, right? Like it just hits you, and you're like, what? Did this just happen in this movie? And what it does is it goes Sixth Sense, right? So one of the things that's happening is when he goes to this new school, his friend Leo, who's a real troublemaker as well, and was a troublemaker with him at other schools, comes out and joins him at this school, right? So Leo and him then begin breaking all the rules of this school, and the reason why is Principal Dwight has burned Rafe's main notebook in a bucket of acid, okay? And, which is a huge blow to Rafe. And so he starts systematically breaking every single rule of the school anonymously, okay? Which is really kind of interesting. And all the other cool kids in the school, get excited about it, and everybody's talking about it. It's got all these hits on the website, the whole nine, right? Well, you're going along and you're like, okay, where's this going? Where's this going, right? Because at this point, everything in the movie you've seen in another movie, right? And so then there's this point where he gets caught, right? And his mom comes and she says, hey, that's it. I warned you, your sister warned you, and you're gonna have to go to a military boarding school now. And my boyfriend has suggested sending you to a military boarding school, which at the time I thought was ridiculous and not a good thing to do. But he's right. You have a problem with authority, and at a military boarding school, that you will learn to, nobody likes authority, but you will learn to live with authority, right? And she's very sad, and it's a sad thing. And then she comes and she sits down next to him on the bed, and the whole movie flips from bog standard tween movie to whoa, I can't believe they did that in this film. And she says, listen, I know you miss him, right? So first thing I'm like, his missing dad? Because you're divorced? Or his dad because he died? Rafe's dad died? And I'm like, that's confusing. Why are you pulling that out now, right? But no, she goes, I know you miss Leo, right? And you're like, Miss Leo? Oh, the mom must not know that Leo went to his new school, right? But then it goes forward. She goes, well, we all miss him. And when he got sick, it surprised all of us. And you're like, and literally we paused the movie, and the whole family had to figure it out. Half my family knew exactly what was happening. I was still processing it. And, and we all came to it. And Leo, this troublemaker boy that he's been going around with throughout the school, is his dead brother. They totally Sixth Sensed it. Leo is a ghost, right? And you're like, what? It was it just came out of nowhere. And it just turned the whole movie upside down. And it was delightful. It was really delightful. And it just elevated all the content in the film and took the movie in a really new direction. And like you could say, well, they just threw in the Sixth Sense. Well, Sixth Sense is 20 years old. You could do that when a movie's 20 years old, right? Like, so, you know, like it really came as a surprise. Not a lot of people do it in movies today. And it was awesome. It was like full on awesome. And I was very, very impressed. Like, it was really, really good. And I really just I was wonderfully delighted with this film. So it has this major twist in it, and because, you know, at that point you feel sorry for this kid, and then it has this really touching ending where, you know, his brother essentially goes to heaven, and you know, but he goes to heaven by going in the you know, in the spaceships that were drawn in his notebook, right? And you know, and we talked about the movie, and, you know, the reason is Leo leaves in the way he does is because Rafe doesn't need him anymore, because, you know, he has closure at the end of the film. And it was really, really cool movie. It was surprisingly good, and it does quite a few things that are not done in a lot of other movies. So I highly recommend Middle School. And I'm surprised to be doing that, but it's excellent. It's a really excellent film, and I highly recommend watching it. And it's great. It's a really, really good film, and I think you guys will enjoy it. And I really dug it. It was a very, very special film. Take care.